Hi, welcome to Magpie Moonchild. My name is Kayleigh, and this is a hell of a lot of World Unknown tarot decks. It's possibly my most favourite tarot deck that I own. Recently, I managed to acquire a first edition. I have a second edition. I have a mass market edition, pre-Justice card, and I will get to that. And we have a pocket tarot. Now, while I don't recommend this for a beginner deck, it's an incredible, well, you can have it as a beginner deck, but I wouldn't recommend it as a beginner deck. It's incredible. It's one of my, it's done a lot for me in the past, and when I've had a really low point, when it really helped me deep dive daily with tarot. So anyway, we are going to have a look at these decks side by side to see how it kind of evolved, what the differences are. So card stocks are different for each of them. Ever so slightly. They are all matte edition. As you can see, the full card is pretty similar on all of them. So what I'm going to do is go through each of the decks one by one and flip and compare the cards between them. So we have, this is the first, second, mass, pocket edition. So they're kind of in order like that. So the full card across all of them is pretty similar. The card, the initial ones are a bit more scratchy, and then it's evolved into this brighter version of the card, and it's similar actually from second onwards. They are very similar. They are the same image put onto a different slightly different card stocks. So this one was, these were private produced, and then these are mass market through Harper One. So the back is also different on the first deck, and then as we go through the subsequent decks, they do have the snakeskin, but that first edition has a different back to it. So hang on, sorry, it's because I flipped them like that. So from here on in, they will just flip like that over. And I'm going to keep knocking these cards, so I'm not going to worry too much if they get a bit messed up. So again, with the Magician card, very much the same along all of them. Little slightly bit brighter, but not too much brighter than the original. And again, pretty much similar the whole way through. A lot of these are going to be very similar. So with these, it kind of feels slightly darker and more intense in the colours within the sphere. Other than that, everything else is pretty similar. These feels a bit more scratchy, but these are very similar still. That pocket one is going to fly all over the place because they're little. Empress, same across the board pretty much. Perhaps a little slight more intensity as we get towards the second onwards. This feels a lot paler, but still has the same message and imagery. The Emperor is the same across the board. If it's not broke, don't touch it, right? It's the same card across all four designs. The Hierophant, now the background has been changed on the Hierophant. We have the straight lines here. This one has scratchy with the white intense at the bottom, sorry. Also, the lightning bolt is missing red within this. And actually the shape of the lightning bolt has also changed ever so slightly from the original to the mass market and the second edition onwards. And the key is the same, but the background has changed. So now the lovers, you can instantly see there is a different color background from the original. Had the blue, which I really like. It's kind of really about healthy communication. I do like that it has this inclusive rainbow kind of imagery on the back. That one pops more. But I do like the original. I do like the subtlety of the original in the first edition. The Chariot, again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's the same across the board. I can't see any differences really between them. Perhaps, no. Justice, now this is where we get one of the changes. So it is the same across the board until we get to the pocket edition. It has an inclusive pride colour way on the newer releases of the mass market. That is also on the mass market edition of the normal size. The pocket has always had it. As I said, this is pre that coming into production. And one day I will find a deck. I just want to know that it's definitely in there if I'm buying it for another mass market one. The Hermit, again, if it's not broken, they're not going to do anything about it. Perhaps ever so, no, I would say a slight difference. But I think that's just because this is a paler line. It feels slightly thinner. It feels a bit more solid in the image in this one. Actually, there's a slight more sepia-ness to this one than that white. But yeah, it's the same image. It's just, I think because this is slightly paler, not as heavy with the lines, ever so slightly, it feels lighter. Wheel of Fortune, now I don't really see any difference. Perhaps slight intensity of colour, but not a lot at all really. And the image is the same across all of them. Hasn't been altered. Now the Strength card is the same across them all. So we have the same Strength card, colours all in the same places, and the same with the Hanged Man. And the Death card is also going to be the same. Temperance, we have a change of colour background, and I think actually in this instance the colour does make it pop more. It makes that stalk, that heron, really stand out. I think it's a stalk or a heron, it could be, I'm not good with birds, but it does make everything pop more by having this colour background, and it's actually in a chevron shape rather than across horizontally as well with the lines. The Devil is the same across the board, as is the Tower. The intensity, these real Mars reds really are the same, and the Star is the same across the board. It actually probably looks the best in the pocket edition, ironically, but it's beautiful. The Moon is also the same across all the decks, same with the rainbow border. And then we have the Sun, the famous Sun, that's controversial across the spiritual world, but it's the same, again, the same image across all the decks, as is Judgment. They also have the same image across them all. And then we have the World, which again is the same, and it is the image that is on all the boxes as well. Obviously the boxes have slight differences in that this one has this white hatching to it, and then it kind of follows on as normal with the rest of the decks, but that white hatching is different on those decks as well, on that first edition box. And the texture of the box is different too. We'll get to that in a minute. So just trying to make these a little bit tidier. We have the Ace of Wands being the same across them all, as is the 2 and the 3. If you want to have a look at these decks individually, you can absolutely check out each of their individual videos. They all have an individual video. The 4 of Wands is the same, as is the 5, and I believe the 6 is too. I would say the 6 is a bit more vivid in the colour. This feels a lot more sagey rather than aqua, but other than that the image is the same, as is with the 7 of Wands. And the 8, I love this 8, it's my favourite 8 of Wands anywhere. Now the 9 has obviously a difference in the background. The colour is much more intense, as is the hatching on there. And actually there's more kind of definition of white in the wood as well, to give it more of a wood texture. This feels a lot more solid. The Moon has also changed slightly, angle slightly wider. It's actually, although it's the same concept, even the top branch is slightly different, the way the twigs are going off of it. So it's the same idea, but a different, it feels like it's been completely redrawn. But I do prefer the new version, but I kind of I really love the first edition for what it has. This is why I really love having different editions of them. The 10 of Wands is the same. This has a more brown tone to it. I think that's just the colour of the inks that was there, but actually it actually feels, if I had to pick out of these 4, I'd say this 10 of Wands feels like it has a bit more light to it than this one does. These ones do. Daughter of Wands is the same. The Son of Wands, it's the same. It just feels a lot more intense with the colours. It feels like they've gone over and brightened the colour for the second onward. And actually this feels more, whereas these feel watercolour, this feels more, how do I explain it? Like pen. They feel more like paint, alcohol pen colours rather than watercolour-y kind of up around here. And I think the hatchings feel a little bit sharper in these as well. Okay, the Mother of Wands is the same across the board. They have that intensity. Again, I would say a little bit more vibrant perhaps on the second edition onwards. The Father of Wands is the same across the board. as is the Ace of Swords. And the Two of Swords is similar as well, same. The Three of Wands, oh, it's my favourite Three of Wands. This is tied with Naked Heart Tarot's Three of Swords. Three of Swords is my favourite in the deck. Now, as you can see, the Four of Swords is different. I didn't realise, I thought it was just the background that was different, but actually the actual lamb has been redrawn too. It's much more juvenile actually in the new one. And there's not the same detail in the swords here either from the second edition onwards. This detail in the handles is absolutely beautiful, with the hatch markings across as well. So I actually think I prefer the first edition, but I really like the colour pop and that light that comes with that. So each has their own thing, but yeah, this has all been completely redrawn for this card. Again, same concept, but completely redrawn. I didn't realize it was that different. Okay, so Five of Swords is the same. Six of Swords is the same. This rainbow is paler than these, but so they've brightened up the colour, and actually it pales again a little, ever so slightly, for the mass market. So the second edition wins that one for me, in that sense. The Seven of Swords, it feels like there's a lot deeper texture. This is more scratchy, but other than that, the image is the same across the board. Eight of Swords is the same. Again, this has a different, I think they've used slightly different ink tones in this, because this feels more yellowy orange, whereas this feels more red orange. And again, the lines feel a bit more pronounced on it, but other than that, the image is the same. Same with the Nine of Swords. Not everybody's comfortable with these sword images that are on here. So the Ten of Swords is again the same. The Daughter of Swords is the same. It just feels a bit sharper as you move from second edition onwards. The sharpest actually feels like the travel, the pocket deck. This one lives in my handbag, by the way. This one lives by my bed. So they go everywhere with me. If I'm not in my bed, then my handbag goes everywhere with me. So I have a Wild Unknown with me everywhere. Son of Swords is the same, as is the Mother and the Father. It always reminds me of my granddad, the Father of Swords. I think it's the eyebrows. Okay, Ace of Cups. Now this feels paler and a bit more of a Wedgwood blue, whereas this is more of a Caribbean blue colour in the second edition onwards. And actually it gets brightest in the mass market edition here. But again, it's the same image. It's just had slight changing with the colours, what levels they're at. But again, that could be inks. And the same with the Two of Cups. They all have slightly different reds. This is much paler, but much more of a richer, a true red, whereas this is more like a lipstick red, if that makes sense. And this is a tulip red, and it's just, they're ever so slightly different reds, but it is the same image across the board. And the same with the Three of Cups. This feels slightly more of a genuine sunset color. These feel like they have a sharper pop to them color wise, but again, same image. Four of Cups. I thought this had color in it from memory earlier, but it doesn't. It is the same image across the board, as is the Five of Cups. And the Six of Cups is also the same, because again, I would say that it just feels a bit brighter on this one than the original one. It feels like it's gone over the colour slightly more, or it's brighter. And the same with these as well. Second edition onwards, it just feels brighter. Now the Seven of Cups changed a lot. Actually, there was 6 cups upside down. They're now 6 cups up the right way with 1 up the right way. The cups have changed. The entire setup of the card has changed. We don't have a sun or a moon or mountains in this. We just have a trench with, what a perceived trench with the cup there. So completely different versions actually. And I have to say, I think the choice to change to that one, the second onwards, was a good choice. It kind of fits more in with the other cards that have colour pops to them. So yeah, good choice to change there. But I do really appreciate the original. Eight of Cups, same, as is the 9 and the 10. This feels slightly more watercolour traditional, but yeah, it's It's the same, as is the Daughter of Cups and the Son of Cups and the Mother of Cups, all those pops. This feels more pale blue as it goes into market. This one here, it feels white there, but more pale blue as it goes into the mass market. So I don't know if anything was changed there necessarily, and that's me being pernickety, I suppose. The Father of Cups is the same. The Ace of Pentacles is the same, as is the 2. It just feels slightly heavier and more intense. It's like they've sharpened up the background in the second onwards. The third is the 3 of Pentacles is the same, as is the 4. There's just a bit more subtle colour. This feels more intense and wider on the second onwards. The 5 is the same. Again, colour ink differences of printing, I think, rather than an intensity change. The 6 of Pentacles is the same, as is the 7. I love the simplicity of the 7. We're lining them all our things up to see what we got. The 8 is the same, and it's amazing as it is, as is the 9 and the 10. And the Daughters are the same, yeah. And the Son of Pentacles is the same. And the Mother is the same. I would just say that this is more of a grass green, whereas this is like a sagey pistachio. But other than that, really good. It's the same. And the Father of Pentacles is the same as well, with that beautiful rainbow antlers that are there. Now, obviously the tin, mine is, as you'll see, it's slightly dented where it's been in my handbag. The tin size is beautiful. It just fits in your handbag quite beautifully. Small, perfect. I love it. Oh, I've actually put it in upside down in the tin, never mind. Mass market. Now, as you can see, that's very brown on the side, dirty on the sides. I use this every day. This is my deck for me. It's screaming at me that I have dead. See, 2 of Cups. It loves me too. With the Ace of Cups, it's my self-care healing deck, and it's telling you that while we're sat here. This deck has been next to me every night for the last 6-7 years, something like that. Absolutely love it. I cannot thank this deck enough. So yeah, mass market. So it has a 2-part box with the black detail inside, the Harper Elixir on the back. Obviously it's a bit bashed where it's travelled around houses and stuff. Yeah, 2-part box, solid cardboard 2-part box as well. Yes. Oh, it's my puppies being protective. The second edition is also a 2-part box, not quite as heavy as the Harper one, and it comes with a leaflet. The others comes with a little book inside, that one, and this had a separate box with that within the set. That it has a box and a book in a bigger box. This one has a leaflet that makes it different, and the cardstock feels a bit lighter and smoother. Out of all the cardstocks, this one's my favourite. That's most familiar, but this is my favourite feeling one. The second edition that was produced by Kim, and then obviously the first edition has that different back design. And I will show you that there, and a 2-part box, but this feels like it's a cardboard. They've cut it out of cardboard and then folded it over to make the box, and it has all the white details in there. What did that have inside? That had the same as the mass market, and it has the card box inside. So I put this up the right way so I know I haven't left the card. I haven't left the box, and it has a slightly different leaflet on that one as well. So it has a 2-part box. There's no thumb holes on this one, but there you go. So that is the 4 that I have, editions of the Wild Unknown Tarot. I love all of them, each in their own way, and they all bring me joy and insight, and I am so grateful Kim created all versions of this, because it has got me through the darkest places and help me breathe and connect and reflect back and do my shadow work the way I'm supposed to. So yeah, hopefully this has been of some use to you. If you have any questions, just ask down below and I will try and get back to you as soon as I can. I'm not going to lie, I am not consistent checking comments, but I will get back to you eventually. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you again soon. Bye for now.